So, hello, welcome, and nice to meet you all here. And fine, you had times to come here and visit us and stay with us and have a lot of fun. So, what's going on? Let me give you a quick explanation. We record the session, we will record every session, and then we provide the link so you can repeat that um, as often as you want. So you have all the time to watch this again, make your notice or whatever. So even if some people now coming in and miss that, they can follow it from the beginning. So we record that show here. And yes, what we are talking about. So let's say we start, and this is for me very important that you know why we do that. We start with the beginning of this kind of industrial revolution. In former times, people have steaming machines. We didn't had all the electricity, and that's what we call industrial revolutions. So now we have computer technology, we have the robot technology, we have new kind of cameras connected to AI and something like that. And all of this is a new industrial evolution. And we start very, very low at the beginning of this age because it started all over with Bitcoin. Many people heard about digitalization, that we use computers, you use your mobile phones. That's all coming out of that situation that we finally ended in digital money and something like that. Today we speak about the Bitcoin thing and what it is about and what's the benefits and how I can access. In the next course, we talk about digital ledger technology, blockchain technology. So there we will talk about also why there are different cryptocurrencies, what's up to them, what is DeFi market, what happens to the world changing since Bitcoin has been developed. And from that point, we start over to the next big thing, which started a couple of years ago. It started in the early 2000s. It was called Evernet. Today we see a combination from Evernet and Internet of Things. I will explain you from the scratch what that mean, what access is it, how the internet change, how the access to the internet is changing via that, and what it is all about. We talked then about, you have heard about smart cities, the concept that cars driverless, that you can do everything online, that what is fixing the world in an online world. Yeah, the people shifting from a normal world into a bipolar world. So we live now here where we are, here on the course, for example. But on the other hand, we have digital twins where we are going and living with, and they do things for us, online shopping and whatever you think about. So this all is coming to a great point, and is the ending. The ending is what governments want, what the society want, and what business want is so-called smart city technology. And even there, you find all of that kind back. You find Bitcoin in smart cities, you find IoT technology in smart cities, you find robotic in smart cities, everything. This is the whole connection. And I will show you exactly what's going on in the world, what actually is the state of art. Do we have cities like that or where we are today? And this is main knowledge. I think a greater understanding of all of that, then we come to the point of regulation. What happens to regulation to AI and something like that. And if you finish this basics, you will likely see what's going on in the world, how the world is changing, and how can we be part in that world. Because I think if we go to elections and we vote a governmental party or something like that, we have to know about this technology because governments using the technology to regulate us. Or how can we make government transparent through this technology? So this is the reason why we start from the very beginning. I know some people from you have, for example, different coins they had traded or something like that. But all of that is only a brick in a wall. This is a part of a bigger picture. So after that, we will have a lot of hours spending on AI because I want to show you how you can use AI to follow up what you have learned from here, how it can support you to find your way through all of that by your own. And it's not about only making some nice picture and videos. I will show you some tools, of course, where you can do this also for marketing or something like that. Yeah. But my main point in showing you what AI is capable to do is that you see how AI like ChatGPT or Grok or Gemini or whatever you use, what you prefer to use, it works all the same. Um, will do for you as your best friend or as a worker in your own company. So how it can support you to become the best of you. And that's what we will do on the whole show. We have 12 hours of lessons every second Sunday in a month. So the first and the third month Sunday in a month is our course. It is all recorded. You can recall it every time. And one thing I would like to tell you also is when we finished here, we have been in Rwanda. A lot of people from you have met us in person. We're seeking for people becoming trainer and we are Smart World Education. Yeah, this is our mission. Our mission is to give access to knowledge to the world. But we need more people. They want to become teacher, for example, like me now for you. And if you, after all of that, after 12 hours of lessons, and you are not bored and you say, hey, that was a good thing, and I learned a lot, and I can imagine to become a teacher, then we should talk about, and then that's what we all said. We make a boot camp on site. So we come over to your country again. We make a boot camp there over 1 week where we train people to become a trainer. And from that point, you can start separately. So that's also an opportunity so that you not only sit here and learn for yourself, but you have an opportunity to grow with that knowledge. Yeah, that's what we do. And I hope for you is everything understandable. Um, most of the people like Gaston know me, and I will try to speak very slow. So if you have a problem to follow me, or you are next to a person who is translating for you, and I'm too fast, just give me a sign, okay? So then I will slow down so that you have even problems with the video later on to translate, okay? So that is easier for you to connect and follow up. Yeah. So um, one last thing before we start. I will make breaks. So I will do some part of the course now, and with the part of the course, we do breaks about 5 minutes or something like that, where you can get something to drink or you can write down your own questions because on the end of all of that, we make an answer and questionnaire. Yeah. So make some notes, what you want to know, what you didn't understand during the lessons or something like that. And at the end of the course today, I will take time with you to spend to answer your questions about the topic we had today. Okay? You're fine with that? Okay. So then let's have a good time and start. And yeah, let's right start with Bitcoin. The idea of money without control. And that is a very, very important thing to understand. Bitcoin, as you see today, is a trading aspect. Governments use Bitcoin for growing capital. Some people collect Bitcoins like stamps because they hope the price is going up. But in the beginning of Bitcoin, I will explain you there was no money business in that. And Bitcoin was meant to be to fight all the problems. When you think about problems with money, in 2008, we have a financial crisis in the Western world, which cut off the people from money, and they were poor as some people in Africa. They lost all their items, their goods, because they had made bets on trading companies which were breaking up. They lost all their money and lived on the street. And this is a point of our money system because we must make more money, and that means we must produce more, or we have to present more things other people will buy. And that's also the problem because of resources. Yeah. So if you sell, for example, wooden tables, someday, if everyone wants a wooden table from wood, from trees, there are no trees to build, you know? So they got expensive. And Bitcoin was the idea that not the productivity is the problem, but the people do own their own money. And no one is saying, if you work for me, you get money. And that money can grow if you go for an interest. So Bitcoin is out of interest completely. You can put it down as a Bitcoin and still you hope that the price is going up, yeah? But a normal Bitcoin in your pocket is not growing. You do not make from one Bitcoin just by waiting two Bitcoins. When you go to a bank or to an accountant, he can say, okay, leave your money here. I will charge you 2% of interest. So when you leave that money here for 2 years, for example, you got back $2 instead of $1. Yeah, that doesn't work in Bitcoin, and it was never meant to be. It was money for the people, which government can't control, which government can't access, which is in your own pocket, where no one can break in and take it away from you. And that's the very basic of basic Bitcoin. That was the idea that we can reach people with Bitcoin who haven't got access to money, who haven't got access to exchange. Yeah, so think about a lot of people I know in Africa or in South America, they haven't got any access to any bank accounts. They haven't got any access to the financial world. They got mobile phones from the government as a social affair or something like that, but they never had real access. So when you think about companies like M-Pesa or something like that, they try to change that they use mobile phones for payment. Yes, but the idea of Bitcoin was the first one. We want to make a monetary system where we can spend the money all over the world without restrictions and can to send the money and an advantage from 10 minutes. So that was the idea to support people by remittance or whatever. And it worked. It worked in the beginning because we have the financial crash and everyone was looking for an alternative system. And this idea is necessary to know because if our financial system is crashing again, and in my next book, I will forecast it for 2028. Later, I will tell you why. Um, if the money system crash again, you have to know, and even if you look for your neighbor, for example, yeah, they haven't got bank access, you have to know how to access Bitcoins and use your Bitcoins without having all the problems with the fiat world, and you can access all the goods also. So if you want for ordering a mobile phone something and you haven't got fiat money access because you have no bank account, I can show you where you can order a mobile phone with Bitcoins directly. So, but that needs also where come the Bitcoins from to know what is the meaning of Bitcoins, where can I exchange, who is accepting Bitcoins. And that's exactly what we will do and learn. The introduction to Bitcoin is easy. So, what is Bitcoin? Yeah, Bitcoin is a digital currency introduced in 2009 by an anonymous entity known as Satoshi Nakamoto. Yeah, it operates on a peer-to-peer network. That means we have no middleman. So normally you do business like that. Someone knows someone who knows someone, and then these guys connect you. So for example, someone has a idea of a business and then he hire people to sell his business to other people. So that's the man in the middle. It is not directly him who is asking you to make business with him. And Bitcoin is changing that. So when you are access to a wallet, I show you later, you can send your money directly to the other guy. So if someone runs a business and you know the business owner, you do not have to visit him to make this deal. You can do it directly, and you do not have to a third person, a third party, who is telling you that the person is there. The person can advertise, and everyone can connect to him via Bitcoin, and that allows to swapping money all over the world without banks. Yeah, we can receive payments without relying on banks or governments. Unlike traditional currencies, Bitcoin is not issued or controlled by any central authority. There is no central bank. There is no stakeholder interest. There is no monetary system around Bitcoin. From the very basic on, Bitcoin is just there because it is a Bitcoin. As you say, uh, $1 is $1, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. If you say 1 cent is 1 cent, one Satoshi is the same like a cent in a dollar system. So, and that means we have a completely system which is like money. We can exchange it for goods, but the only thing we do not have is that we have to place the money in a bank to be sure that the money is secured there. So no one can bomb Bitcoin. Yeah, you can bomb a bank and run away with the money. Then people say, okay, there's an insurance. But we had cases in the world where governments failed to work with money and then they confessed all the money from the people from the bank. In Bitcoin, it's impossible. No one can take the Bitcoins away from you. You are the only guy who can give access to the Bitcoins or can send the Bitcoins. Yeah. What is it has a technology behind. You call it blockchain. It is not the same like Ethereum is working or something like that or other coins. Blockchain is a little bit misunderstanding. Bitcoin is working on a timestamp proof system, which proves that something has happened and tells the truth, which can't be falsified. Yeah, because Bitcoin has no owner. Yeah, that means it uses blockchain technology, decentralized ledger records, but in a different way than DLT systems do, or what we call normal blockchains today. They're very different in technology. In Bitcoin, it works a little bit different from that. But at the end, if you're a beginner and you have never heard about Bitcoin, think of Bitcoin as a digital cash that you can store in a virtual wallet and use for transactions online or offline. Yeah. And this is a nice thing because its popularity stems from its ability to provide financial independence, reduce reliance on intermediaries, and offer a secure, transparent system for transferring value globally. One other point is many people say it's pseudo-anonymous. In reality, Bitcoin is anonymous. So only you and the reception of your money knows who you are. You know where you are sent the money to because you call someone, he make a deal with you and you pay for. You know each other. But in the ledger, there's only a number entrance. There's nothing with a name or something like that. And no one can say you have done that business from and can say you are the number 1, 2, 3. No one can say as long as you do not say, hey, I'm number 1, 2, 3. As long you to never tell someone, it's okay. But if you go, for example, and you register on an exchange, you have to do KYC. That is this know your customer. You have to upload your passport and you have to say where you are living and you have to answer a few questions. Everyone in the world knows who you are and that you have access to cryptocurrencies. So you can't stay anonymous. When you are in a secure country, that is no problem. But in some countries, it's very problematic because they have wars in the countries and the people from the government want to take the cryptos away from the people. And when they know you have registered someone, they can look in a computer and can say, hey, that guy has an account at Coinbase or wherever. So then they can say, okay, we have to visit this guy and stop that he's working with cryptocurrencies. And then they can take everything away from you. So it is always Bitcoin who says, okay, as long you stay in Bitcoin, you are secured. If you leave Bitcoin and combine Bitcoin with the fiat money system we already have, you're not secured anymore by anonymity. Yeah, and this is a main difference to understand. And this is what it is. Yeah, we have decentralized digital currency. We use a kind of blockchain technology, which is a little bit different from that what we see today. We have digital wallets and transactions, and we have financial independence benefits. That's the idea behind Bitcoin. That's what Bitcoin is all about, and what it should be, and what would it be. And when we look a little bit more behind all of that, we come to some principles. Decentralization is one of the biggest point in Bitcoin, removing control from banks and giving financial power back to individuals. That's what you have to accept. This is what's the main thing you have to understand is that you control Bitcoin, not Bitcoin is controlling you. No one has access to your Bitcoins until you say, I give you access. A lot of people from maybe have heard they had some bitcoins and then someone was coming and saying, "Give me your bitcoins," and then I work with that and then I run away with the bitcoins. So that's not the problem of the Bitcoin system. It's the problem you didn't know that this guy is a fraudster. So you gave your money and that was all. But it's not the problem of the system. When you hear that Bitcoin has been hacked. It is not Bitcoin who has been hacked. It was an exchange where the people break into the exchange and steal the Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies. They have access to that. Yeah, because you do not control your funds on an exchange. The exchange is controlling your funds for you. And this is not the Bitcoin system at all. At least it is there. And Bitcoin promotes financial freedom, allowing users to transact globally without intermediaries. That's exactly what we said. And in the moment you control your money, and this money is limited, you have to exchange against goods with people if you can't exchange for fiat. In that moment where people are not able to exchange their Bitcoins into fiat money, they have financial freedom because it's the same thing about you miss something. You will cook in the evening, and now your tomatoes running out, yeah, or the chicken is out. But you know a neighbor who has chicken, so you decide to go to him and ask for a chicken, and he asks you for something he needs, pepper or salt or whatever he needs. So you do an exchange of that, and this is not money. And so Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is an exchange of an idea that you can secure that the goods you get for you are real. And then you have a transparency ledger where you can always look, I have paid that guy and he has sent over me that. So no one can say that doesn't happen. Yeah, and in former times, people were saying, "Oh, I didn't reach the money, so you didn't pay me. So what will you do next?" Yeah, because I'm coming around and will tell you that you didn't have paid. In Bitcoin, the difference is you can look into his account and can see that your money you have sent is in his account. And this is totally different. You can't go for a bank and say, let me check the account from my colleague. He has charged me some money for a deal, and now he's telling me the money is not there. So no bank will say, okay, look in his account. They will say, okay, you have to fill out a form and we will check that out and something like that. And you have paperwork to do, and it's a long process. But in Bitcoin, you can exactly see the money has been sent there. And then you can go to the guy and can say, here's the proof that I paid you. What's up to you? Why didn't you send me the goods? In the meantime, you can also say, okay, we meet somewhere and then we sit in a coffee bar or somewhere, and then we do an exchange of goods against the funds next to next. So every time you do a deal with Bitcoin, it's secured and you can be transparent. And that's the idea of everything because it turns up our fiat system completely. There's no interest. You can watch the money going from A to B. You can see where the money is and who has access to the money. And this money is only in your pocket and no one else can custody. And that's example, yeah. This is example for empower individuals to control their wealth. Yeah, that's what it is. And that was the idea behind. And the idea behind was also that it is made for people who haven't got access to the fiat world. That's all about Bitcoin. So when we start to go over, um, everyone was in the beginning asking, how is Bitcoin working? Why should I trust the Bitcoin network? Why can I trust that system? That's important to know because for many people, they trust the bank and say, my money is secured in the bank. So if something happened, they have insurances, and then I do not wrong. I can work with my money, or I use my mobile phone, and I know how mobile phone works. In our world here, I will say in Europe, America, and everything, people do not use technology only because they have the technology. They always want to know how can I trust that system. Yeah, because they are all afraid that someone in behind is controlling the system, and then one day he appears and take off all the money of the system and runs away. So in Bitcoin, the people were thinking, okay, Satoshi Nakamoto, who is Satoshi Nakamoto? What will happen if Satoshi Nakamoto comes back to the world? Can he open all the Bitcoin accounts and run away with that? So that was the first question people asked. So how can you secure that this system is running independently and no one can break in, even the founder? And exactly that's what the technology is different of all we have seen in the world. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit what the blockchain in Bitcoin is. So think about you're working in an office and you have to access you're the post guy. Yeah, every day thousands of letters come in and you have to send thousands of letters. So also you have to do accounting. So in the end of the day, what you are doing is you put all the letters in a box and then you bring the box to the post office and then you say, hey, Mr. Post Office, that's our work from our company. These letters have to be sent. Then the post office guy is making a list. That's what the ledger is in Bitcoin. And notice all the letter when they come in at which time with a number. That is some kind of offline. Yeah. So he can track where your letter is going to. And here's the same. Each transaction comes into a block. We call it block. Yeah, it's a couple of datas. So and this block is limited. We can't put a lot of letters into this block or transactions. Yeah, it sometimes it's full. What we do now is, and this is a nice thing. We come to the mining process. It is something like that. So now the block is completely with a computer who is called a miner. We call it miner. However, who was saying miner, it's a miner, okay? Don't think about the word. Yeah, this computer is nothing else doing than all the day putting some transactions into a block and send the block away. And then the block goes to a control. So think about your post office is sending that to a center for post. Yeah, so you're sitting in Kigali or wherever and then you will send a letter to Kenya. So it's going to your post office, and the guy in the post office sends this entrance with this ledger and all the letters to another station, which is delivering from there to different countries, a big station. So they must make sure that the guy in your post office has done a good work, that the box is right, that the stamps are all on the letter, and whatever. So what Bitcoin is doing, they call it nodes. They have a computer system which knows all the rules. The nodes are also the judgment of Bitcoin. So now the block is full of transaction. It will be sent to a node, and the node will connect to the block and will say, okay, there has to be a code on the table, there has to be a code inside, the codes must match, and so on. And it is checking the block from up to down and down to up and says, okay, all in there follow the rules, and we know the rules. So, yeah, you got the proof, and that's okay. The proof is coming on that thing. So the protocol of Bitcoin is making a stamp. We call it a nonce. The proof is not a stamp like that. Yeah. So you see only that there is a number of zeros adding to the block. Okay. So then you know exactly, okay, a node has checked whether the block and all the transactions are legal or illegal. That's all. That's the node doing. And the fantastic way is now they do not send it to the reception directly. Every miner, and we have actually 2.5 million miners in the world, so everyone can build a computer called miner and put their own transactions in their own blocks. So on top of the block, there are Bitcoins which haven't been confirmed. That's the nice thing about. So a block is full, and then someone is putting a reward onto the top of the block. Actually, that's 3.125 Bitcoins. But in the blocks, they are not confirmed. They are just in there because they got the proof that they have been filled right. And then they said, okay, put some Bitcoins on top of that. And then they sent the whole block with the new number on it back to the miner who has created that block. And this miner now must find out which number is behind the zeros. That's the magic in that. Okay, the zeros we have added to the block, the numbers we put as a proof that that block is the right one, is a hidden number. It could be, for example, 1500. And then all the miners in the world, think about 2.5 million miners, get back their blocks. There are Bitcoins in there are transactions in there, and there is a number of zeros. And now they have to riddle the right number. Yeah, they have to say, okay, we will try to change the number of zeros as long as the number fit. Think about a locker for your bike. Yeah, you have a number locker. And you come there and you want to steal the bike, and it is closed with a lock. And there are numbers on. What do? You just brute force, and then you try to find the different numbers by changing the number on the lock. Yeah, you say 314, it's not working. 3388 is not working. And then you try. And think about the same thing is doing a miner in that thing. He puts a number into the zeros and hopes that the number works. And the whole rest of the number says, hey, we fit in there, and then the solution is found. And they do it as long as one of the miners find that number. And only that guy from all 2,500,000 miners, only that guy who find that number at first gets the 3.125 Bitcoins from his block. And then they are confirmed. And that's new Bitcoins in the system. All other transactions, all blocks have been created. All 3.125 Bitcoins get zero value. The transactions go back where they're coming from, and the next round is starting. Next block, next check, next Bitcoin on it, next number on it, riddling the number again and again until all transactions have been done in a day. So that's how Bitcoin working. So Bitcoin is just a system which says, okay, on the one hand, we do transactions like a normal bank, but on the other hand, we have a system of different people and computers who check if everything is right. And then the system is proving that this guy has done his check because a new number is coming, which has to be found. And I think most of you have heard about that Bitcoin is energy wasting and something like that. If people play a game on their iPhone, yeah, you know that your iPhone or your mobile phone is getting hot. That's because it has to work a lot of things and have to do processes. And if you riddle a number, your computer getting hot. And nowadays we have these minor computers, which are special computers, that's not normal computers anymore. They have to do trillions of numbers in a second. We can't imagine that by mind. Yeah, if I ask you, for example, 2 plus 2 is, and then someone will say 4. Okay, that's very easy. Think about that in the same time you are thinking what 2 plus 2 is, and until you get the answer and say 4, a computer nowadays from these mining computers has done the answer a trillion times in a second. Yeah, so when you need for the answer 6 seconds, we have done 6 times trillions of numbers checked. And this is really, really fast, you know. When we started with the computers in 2009, they were slow. They can only do some 1,000 numbers in a second. Now they can do trillions numbers in a second to riddle, you know. So that's why that number they have to find are very difficult to find. And that's the magic of Bitcoin. The more people run for Bitcoin, yeah, make a treasury hunt, yeah, the more people in there, the difficult will go up, and it is harder to find that number because the system is saying everyone should have the same chance to get Bitcoins. But if someone runs all the computers of the world, he will get all Bitcoins, right? But in the moment he runs all the computers in the world, the number is so difficult that he needs also 10 minutes to find a number. And that's what it is. Everything in Bitcoin is on 10 minutes based. Yeah, 10 minutes, the next show comes, the next block will be checked, everything starts again. And that's what Bitcoin is doing all the time, without exception. You can't break in, you can't do changing anything every 10 minutes. You can't fasten the system, it's every 10 minutes. And Bitcoin was built like that to make steady after the time. Now, Bitcoin today is 17 years old. Yeah, to show the people it works for 17 years. So you do not have to know exactly what I told you about how mining is working. You do not have to know. You can trust it because it works for 17 years and no one has breaking down the system. And now you can imagine why Satoshi Nakamoto has disappeared. It is not about he can't break in his own system because every 10 minutes the code to break into the system is changing also. Yeah, it changes. That's what we say cryptographic thing. Yeah, that's based on that. So he even if he knows how the system is working, he can't break into his own system. But and that's the main point. As we talk today, no one has recoded the whole Bitcoin system at all. So you see Bitcoin-like systems like there are points like Lightning or Litecoin or there are Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV or how coins. They are only some forks of Bitcoin, some copies, hard copies of Bitcoin, which has been a little bit adjusted. But it is not the Bitcoin system itself. Bitcoin stays Bitcoin. And as long no one knows how the system is really working, yeah, as long people writing in books and think they know how it is working, as long no one can crack down the system, because all you can do with the Bitcoin is you can actually make a statement. So I can ask, hey, Bitcoin, how many transactions have you done? Hey, Bitcoin, how many blocks have been mined? Hey, Bitcoin, you can ask the answer state, but Bitcoin is not giving you an answer how it is working and how it is coded. Yet now people say, yeah, it's open source and we can see the code. Yeah. And then clever people will do. No. If it was that way, someone from the bank side will have made the banking system as secured like that. And that never happens. You see that online banking has been hacked. You have seen that online systems are not secured as anything. You can fraud them easily. So Satoshi Nakamoto is in danger. If someone if he ever appears, someone will catch him and will try to make him telling him how he had done this all. And he wants to know in detail how Bitcoin is working. We only know the surface of Bitcoin. Yeah. And there are a lot of things today in books which are wrong written about Bitcoins when you not have been in 2009 there when it comes out to learn from the people who then were there to tell you. Because these people have gone today. And that's the magic of Bitcoin. As long no one really exactly knows, and no book, I tell you, no lies, no book is telling you exactly how Bitcoin is working because they can't do. They can only repeat what other people think Bitcoin is. Yeah, as long this is, Bitcoin is the most secure system in the world. And it stays for 17 years. So when people nowadays talk about that and say we can't trust Bitcoin, and I say, okay, 17 years not break in by hackers. And believe me, the best computer hackers in the world try to hack Bitcoin because it's jackpot. If you hack the system of Bitcoin, you got that money, and if you can steal that money without someone knows that, you're a rich guy today. Yeah, think about Bitcoin has been a couple of months ago about $100,000 and more, $120,000. So people always try every day to hack Bitcoin. And that's what it is. So, um, before we start to talk about wallets and transactions, um, and we come to that point, I just want you to make your mind. Let's do a little break here. and let's talk about the things we are in there. So what do you think? Do you have any questions or something like that? Okay, everyone is sleepy? Maybe that was too boring. No, I don't think. Let me check the check. We have something here. All is clear. Fine. Yeah. Okay. So just yeah, if you want to say something, feel free to ask. There are no stupid questions. For my opinion, there are never stupid questions, only stupid answers. Yeah. So we are here because some people do not know anything about it, or some people have questions. Just ask. Okay. Okay. Then let's go and start over with the next topic. Um, we talk about wallets and transactions. And one of the main points in Bitcoin is Bitcoins exist even if there is no wallet. Because when we talk about wallets and transactions, we have to know something very special. Bitcoins are only a number, yeah? And think about like that. You have a paper where a number is on that, and it represents an excess. It's like a voucher, yeah? You have an excess to money. So if, for example, you give a voucher away, Amazon $50, so a Bitcoin is nothing more than a voucher. As long you have the Amazon voucher about $50, this $50 have never been spent. That's what you call an unspent transaction. Only in the moment you go to Amazon and say this is the code for the $50 and then you spend that. It is there. The money is away, the voucher has been fulfilled. So for that guy who is you give the $50 for Amazon, it's also unspent because now the money is in his account, but it hasn't spent to another person. It's only in an account. And that's why Bitcoin is called an unspent transaction system. So there is no physical Bitcoin or there is no Bitcoin in the machine. It's only every time a voucher which says you have access and you can access to a transfer of something that represents the value of $10. Yeah, that's what it is. And you can then decide what happens to this money. But it is not that you have the money in your hand and then you give the money away like in your pocket money. That's not the truth. The truth is you have a voucher in your pocket and then you give the voucher to the next person and he is giving you something for the voucher and then he can use that voucher for the next person to get something for himself. And that's why we call it unspent transactions. Yeah, they are as long unspent as you do something with that. And a wallet is nothing more than a code of all your funds in there. And this code are unspent transactions. Then you say you want to use something of that. You sign a voucher with your private key in the wallet and send it away. So that's how it works. And that's why Bitcoin works without wallets. Yeah, because still these unspent transactions there. But we need wallets to make it visible. So without a wallet, you can't see that Bitcoins. Yeah. So you can't see that voucher number. You can't see anything. So to use Bitcoin, you need a digital wallet which stores your private keys, the codes that allow you to access and spend your Bitcoin. Wallets can be software based on your phone or computer or hardware devices for extra security. That's another thing, and I beg you, do not buy a Ledger or Treasure or something like that, and do not trust people telling you put your Bitcoins on hardware. You can do your hardware on your own. I can show you if you want. You can make it on a simple USB stick of your own. You do not have to go to a shop and buy a USB stick from Ledger to put your private keys on there. The most secure way is do it by yourself, but never trust in that devices. store your Bitcoin hardware and your private key, and this is all what you need. Your Bitcoin wallet is on your mobile phone, and your private key is locked in a where someone else can't get access to. And I will tell you later how you can make sure that your private key is really sure. Because this voucher, this private key, the number you get, you open a wallet and then you get this number or you get some words. Maybe, some people who are firm with Bitcoin have seen they open a wallet and then they got 12 words or 24 words. These words are the vouchers of your Bitcoins and they do updating everything you get in access. So someone is sending you 5 Bitcoins, your wallet knows now you have access to 5 Bitcoins, and this information is updated to your words or to your number you get the private key. If you lose the access, another person can get it like a bank check. If you have a bank check and you put the money in there and you sign that, a blanco check, for example, and you lose it on the street and another guy find that check, he can go inside the bank and then he can access your money because he has this check with your signature. And that's what your private key is. It is like that check. Okay, so you have to take care about the check. That's how Bitcoin is working, and this is the security also. So transactions occur when you send Bitcoin from your wallet to another, yeah, using their public address. So think about you have an account or you use M-Pesa or something else. You have to provide a number where you send the money to. Yeah, someone is asking you which is the number of the bank account from the reception or wallet from your phone, and then you type in the number, you type in the amount, and it's going there. A public address is the same. A public address is nothing more than the reception's number where the money is going to. Yeah, and these transactions recorded on the blockchain, ensuring transparency and security. When you're a beginner, think of your wallet as a digital bank, yeah, but without the bank. You are the sole owner and controller of your funds. And this is the independence in Bitcoin. You got your wallet, you got your private key. So when you lose your wallet, you can recover your funds with that private key. That is important to know. Yeah. If you have a wallet and the guy who has coded the wallet for the computer is saying, I don't want to have this wallet anymore, and he shut down the system behind the wallet. So you haven't got any access to your Bitcoins anymore. You can use that private key, download another wallet, type the number into the send field. There you press send, type in the private key, and then the system recognizes, wow, these are funds, and then your funds immediately back on that new wallet. So you never have to be afraid that you can lose your Bitcoins as long you know the words or the number. That's very important. That's everything you have to do. You have to secure it. You have to secure it in a way and don't panic around with this number. Yeah, some people go nut about that number because I will say you, if you lose your phone or something else, all your addresses have been gone for good. And no one can recover it because no one has access to your cloud. Really? So what do? You take care for your phone on your own. So this number is the same. You can take care about that number on your own. No one is coming in your house and saying, give me your number because he doesn't know that you have Bitcoins. That's exactly what it is. But if you are the big guy and you're going to the internet and says, wow, I have 1 million Bitcoins, what likely will happen? Someone is hiking you, someone is getting you away from the street, and then he treats you with some electricity and says, will you give me your number? Are you willing to give me your number? So you can break every cryptocurrency and every system which is locked by um, cryptos. You can easily get access to. You just have to get the guy and you treat him a little bit, and then he gives you this number. Yeah, that's normal business of gangsters. That's nothing new. And Bitcoin do not change this. But if you take care about your money and you say, okay, I have some Bitcoins, I will do it for my own, and I will do some Bitcoin business with people who have Bitcoins, no one is coming to the idea stealing your Bitcoins. Because think about one thing. Bitcoin is that secure that it doesn't make a difference if you rob an exchange or a private person. The main difference is that no one knows if this person owns one Bitcoin or only a little bit of Satoshis. So no one knows if you have $100 or $100,000. You likely will say in an exchange, I can be sure that there are millions of dollars in the exchange. So to hack the exchange is the same effort as getting your password and access and your private key. So why they do not catch you from the street is because when they do the same work with a banker, an exchange guy who is working on the exchange, they are much more successful. So if you wonder that you say, oh, I'm so in danger with my Bitcoins, forget about that bullshit. No one is taking care about someone who has some Satoshis or something like that. But if you are a big guy and you tell everything in the internet, oh, I own Bitcoins and come to me and I make more Bitcoins out of you, I work with your Bitcoin, something like that, then you will be a target for hackers. Then you will be a target for social hackers, which will try to trap you in something where you dismantle your number. And that's what you have to remember in your mind. No one can take Bitcoins from you until he doesn't know the number from you. And if you go to an exchange and you place your Bitcoins in the exchange, they do not give you this number because they custody, because they regulated by governments and regulated by states authorities. Yeah, they do not give you the number. And if you haven't got that number, you are lost. We come later to that. So this is the main thing. Stay in your own control about your own Bitcoins. And I will tell you something. I tell you the real value of Bitcoin is that you can exchange with people who haven't got any access to money. The next thing is that many people knows that if it goes on like it has been last year, the Bitcoin price will jump under 200,000. So even if you have only $500 and the price is now doubling, your $500 will be $1,000. And in some kinds areas of the world, $1,000 is a lot of money. It's fucking a lot of money. Yeah. And if you can risk to lose that money, it's okay. But if this is all you have, all your savings, then you shouldn't talk about that you got the Bitcoins. You should stay calm about it. You should use it for your own. Keep it as a secret. Yeah. That's what my advice is to you to stay good with Bitcoins. Yeah. And that's what it is. Because everyone wants you to trick you out of your Bitcoins because everyone knows the values on exchanges will explode in the next years. So everyone promise you your Bitcoins are by my best hands. Even exchanges will do that. On an exchange, you buy Bitcoins on an exchange and then you leave the exchange with the Bitcoins. And in a couple of years, they will shut down the exchange. You haven't got a private key. So if you buy Bitcoins on an exchange, send it away to your own wallet. And that's what we'll show later. So that's what Bitcoin is about. So, so let's jump over to something many people misunderstand. When we talk about decentralization, and every guy who has blockchain or something like that is telling, yeah, we are decentralized. And that's the most important thing to know where people lie. No system in cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoins is decentralized. And I will show you why. It's a simple reason. It's really a simple reason. Yeah. When we're talking about decentralized system, and we talk about why Bitcoin is truly decentralized, first, it has a network of nodes. And no one knows who is running a node. You even can download a program to your normal computer and can say, okay, let us run in the background. You do not have to pay a lot of things for energy or something like that. You can run that node in the background, and this node is starting to check blocks and the rules of blocks and make it secure that no one can break into the systems who is not following the rules the nodes check. So one node alone can run the whole Bitcoin network because every node has a copy of the ledger. So meanwhile, a couple of years ago, believe it or not, they sent a Bitcoin to a satellite system. Yeah. So there's a satellite where a Bitcoin node is and the Bitcoin miner is. So even in space, we have a Bitcoin miner and a Bitcoin node. That's magic, but you can do this if you have a satellite system, you can go for that and you can ask ChatGPT, how can I send a transaction via satellite? So that's one point. If the internet is broken, we can send Bitcoins by satellite. I don't know how firm you are with mesh networks. Networks, this is internet on the run. So in some areas, there are no global providers. There are mesh networks, which jumps with the internet data from antenna to antenna. So you know houses, they have old antennas. Yeah, you can use it for mesh networks. Um, we have the accessibility to send Bitcoin over mesh networks. You can also type it in ChatGPT, how can I send my Bitcoins over mesh networks? These are all possibilities how you can send your Bitcoins without internet. And another thing is, Bitcoin is about infrastructure. I can treat Bitcoin as cash. And that's another very, very interesting thing why it is decentralized. If you, for example, open a wallet, and for each wallet you open, and you can make under accounts, thousands of that. Each account you open in a wallet gets an own private key. So you put, for example, $1 on one account, and now you have 100 accounts which have all $1 exactly. You can type that number on a paper, the private key, and then you can sell that paper for $1 because that guy can check the number and can make a proof that you're not tricking on him and he sees exactly that paper with that private key is $1. Now you sell it offline. Yeah, so you can stay completely anonymous like you have cash in your pocket. Yeah, because he can check that the number is $1, but he do not have to enter it into the internet again. He can sell that again. So likely you can print your own money. You can make a dollar note with your face on that and say, okay, these are $1 in Bitcoins. And then you put the private key from that account on it, and then you sell it to the another guy. He's typing in that number into his account and he does the same and the same again. And so he do not have to access to that. If he do not type in the number, you get the voucher with that, yeah? And you sell it directly to another guy, he can use the number to access that Bitcoin. And this is the magic on that. You can use that number to write it on a paper, and then you can use the paper like cash. And if 500 people have done this, so you buy for $1 something from a guy, and this guy is not typing the number into the computer. He is going with this voucher for another guy and gives the dollar for something else. And this is now going around like a dollar in your pocket. It is going around, from the hands to the from the customer to another guy, and to the bank and back, and something like that. So this paper is going around, and no one is typing in the number into the computer. You have an item of exchange. You have exchanged money, which you can check whether it is $1 or not, and no one can take it away from you. No one can say, "Tell me where is the dollar you have spent," because on the ledger you can trace it. I can trace on the ledger because we have a number. I can trace that number. I can see that number was going to number that was going to number that. And some guy has made KYC and turning that number into fiat cash. Then I know the name of that guy who has exchanged it, and I can go to that guy and can say, "Hey, where did you get that Bitcoin from?" And then he has to answer me. If I'm wild and I'm in the government, I will say, "I put you in jail if you do not answer me where you get the Bitcoin from." Then he will tell you, "I got it from that person." And then you go to the next person and then you say, "Hey, where get you that Bitcoin from?" And do the same. But if you use it in a way that you put some money on different accounts with different private keys, and then you sell the private keys, there is no record you can trace. This is important to know because that makes Bitcoin unconfiscatable. You can't confiscate Bitcoin. It's unconfiscatable. Yeah? You can't take it away if you do it that way. It's and this is why the white paper of Satoshi says Bitcoin is electronic cash. That's exactly why it is cash. And you do not need an altcoin called Bitcoin Cash to make that people understand. It's that easy, right? Your private key on the paper and sell that paper, and you see that cash in your hand. And that's exactly how the whole thing is working. That's exactly what makes Bitcoin. There's no thing. Yeah. And this is what it is. Yeah. And through the nodes, which hold everything, they run the system. Yeah. And that's the thing in it. Yeah. And one another thing is also what I want to say is decentralization, real decentralization ensures resilience, transparency, and fairness, as no government or corporation can dictate how Bitcoin operates. If you haven't got any idea about Bitcoins, imagine a system where everyone has a copy of the rule book and changes can only happen if the majority agrees. And this structure makes Bitcoin immune to censorship and manipulation, reinforcing its role as a truly decentralized currency. There's no guy you can give money to and then he is frauding. Yeah, you can't do that because there's no one guy you can access and say, okay, if your node is doing what I want to do, I give you $100,000. It's not working that way because all other nodes and all other miners knows you have given money, you have bribed that person to do that. And that's exactly what you can't do in Bitcoin because you do not know the people who run the nodes and you need the majority of all nodes. And that's impossible to do because we run today around 700,000 nodes and no one knows who has a node. So when we come to a thing many people have heard, um, today we have a lot of different, I would say, blockchains. Many of you have heard there is a blockchain, there is a blockchain, there is a blockchain. And the difference in that is they say they are decentralized, but in reality they are distributed. While Bitcoin is decentralized, it is important to understand the difference between decentralized and distributed systems. A distributed system spreads data across multiple locations, okay? So, but it can still have a central authority controlling it. Let me give you an example. Most of you know Netflix. So, Netflix is a distributed channel system. What does that mean? There's one ownership of Netflix. Maybe this is a group of people, or maybe it's only one person, who knows? Okay? But now, every program director of a channel can decide what he will put into the channel. So he's the boss of the channel. So all that is distributed. Yeah, so you have a sport channel, you have a channel for action movies, you have romantic movies, or whatever. Yeah. So these are distributed. But there is the one boss who can say, okay, guy, you are the sport director, but I'm your boss. I will fire you. So then it's gone away. And in the distributed ledger systems, it's like the same. You have shared the ledgers over different servers from Amazon, from Apple, from Google, or whatever. So no one can shut down the ledger itself. So you say the ledger is decentralized. But the government guy can go to your network, to your coin, and can say, shut it down, or we will shut you down in a jail. That's exactly the difference. Here you can't go to Satoshi Nakamoto and can say to him, hey, you created the system, you must know how to shut down the system. It's impossible because he created a system which he can't shut down on his own. Yeah, but everyone wants to know. So he has no entity you can charge. He has nothing in there where you can make a stand that you want to shut down the system. Every other blockchain in the world, every system who is transferring ownership, meme coins, or if you go for NFTs or whatever, they have a single entity you can shut down. Even if I'm a clever guy I will shut down all exchanges in my country because of one thing. I can do it. Yeah. It doesn't need a reason for me to do it because I'm at the morning, in the morning, I'm moaning, I'm sitting in front of the mirror and say, what was the biggest thing in my life I've done to my people to sweat them? And then I say, okay, we put them all in jail. It's boring. Okay, we threat them that they have to pay more taxes. It's boring. But what is to take away their gambling system? That thing they make money with. So then they do shut down the exchanges. And then you haven't got access via exchanges to fiat. You can exchange your cryptos coins, yeah? But if you can't, but most of the people want to exchange their crypto coins in fiat. What do? No one is accepting a coin called I'm a lucky guy coin. So you go to a guy and say, I am a lucky guy coin. Will you pay me for that coin? Everyone will say, why should I do? So you say, I can exchange that lucky coin into a Bitcoin. Then people will pay for your Bitcoin. But you do not pay your Bitcoins because you know they will grow in value, right? So that's the difference between Bitcoin and everything you create after Bitcoin. And it's exactly why Bitcoin is the number one and will stay as the number one. Well, it's the only coin is which has such a high value that it's too big to fail. And that's exactly the logic why you can't shut down Bitcoin anymore. Because think about you shut down Bitcoin and the governments in the world do reserve banking with Bitcoin. So do you know what then happens? They run out of money. So even America, they now collecting Bitcoins like stamps to secure their government expenses. They will run out of money if Bitcoin is going to a value of zero, right? Because they do not understand that they can use their Bitcoins as an item of exchange and do business with different countries only by Bitcoin. They do not want that. But you, as an individual, as a person on your own, you can decide to stay alone with your Bitcoins, to trade with your Bitcoins alone without any other guys against goods. You never will have problems to get some items because everyone in the world now is running for Bitcoin. Because everyone in the world, there are people everywhere in the world, people who have heard about Bitcoin and they want to have Bitcoins. So if you're stuck somewhere in the world and you haven't got any access to fiat money, just make an advertisement in the newspaper that you are willing to sell some Bitcoins. You will see people run for you. And this is nothing I tell you because I'm Jörg. That's something I have tried all over the world. I have traveled to 120 countries and we see it. We see that people use it. Think about your neighborhood where the banks have been closed because there are some fights of some warlords. People, they will be glad to have access to Bitcoin because that's the only thing they have to exchange and they got a value that some other people will give them some items to survive. Think about that way. If you haven't got anything to exchange, how will you survive? But if you can use Bitcoins and you do mining or something like that, that's the reason why people will give you something for that. Because on the other side, they know Bitcoin has a value. And this is an immaterial value. This is an intrinsic value. Bitcoin has an intrinsic value because it's only there for one reason, providing you with a monetary system which you own, which the people own. Yeah, since years, since hundreds of years, since thousands of years, people do trading. But now they lost their access to banks, to control of governments. They can't trade as they want. There are a lot of rules by trading and something like that. And at least when you do something wrong, the manager of the bank account will frozen your money. They freeze your money. They freeze your money. And then you sit there and say, why did you freeze my account? And he says, you have to answer some silly questions. And then he says, you have not answered in the right way. And that's not what we think that you do. And you have been honest, for example. Yeah. You have all that trouble in the world. So with Bitcoin, it is impossible to do. So you stay on your own. That's what it is. Yeah. So, and this is what Bitcoin is different from. It is decentralized, no banks, just individuals interacting directly. Yeah. And it is the point. Power is shared among participations. Bitcoin achieves decentralization by allowing anyone to join the network, validate transactions, and contribute to its security. Think of distributed as the multiple branches of a single bank, while decentralized means there is no bank at all, just individuals interacting directly. And then you got the point. Think about a tree. A tree has a tribe and then it has branches. You can cut off a branch and everything on the branch, all the smaller branches are cut off from the main tree. Yeah, so you can cut them off. In Bitcoin, everything is connected. So if you cut off a piece of Bitcoin, all the other can recover that. And that's the important thing. If networks say, we shut down the sport channel, the other channel couldn't provide you with sport. In Bitcoin, they could. That's exactly how it works. That's what the magic is all about. That's why we're always talking about security and ownership in Bitcoin. And that's why I first started to talk about Bitcoin before we start to talk about other coins and other financial systems we have also. Because if something is failing in your system and something in your life is going wrong way, Bitcoin will always be the exit strategy for you. Yeah. So if you know about Bitcoin and you know the basics about Bitcoin and you know now a little bit deeper how Bitcoin is securing everything, you have an exit strategy for your life, putting some money in Bitcoins and do not touch the Bitcoins. So you can use that as money. You can use this as item to trade. You can use it for exchanges if you want to gamble. You have all opportunities in one coin. And that's exactly your exit strategy. And if you lose your exit strategy and something is going wrong in your life and you have no backup, what will you do? That's the big question today. And we are in times where surveillance, where governments try to treat the people to do and force what they want. Even in Europe, we are not free like you think. Yeah, Europe is going to make rules we have to follow, but that rules is not really freedom. Yeah, it's coming closer. And this is exactly the thing. The Bitcoin is the only independent system in the world which is run by people for people. All right? If you can't imagine that, you know a little bit more about Bitcoin. Yeah? It's unconfiscatable because ownership via private keys, protection from seizure, financial sovereignty, and unprecedented control. Yeah? Ownership is determined by private keys, which only the user possesses. Without these keys, no one can access or transfer your Bitcoins, not governments, banks, or hackers. This feature makes Bitcoin a powerful tool for financial sovereignty, especially in regions with unstable economy or restrictive regulations. For beginners, if you haven't got any idea, think of your private key as the ultimate password that unlocks your funds. As long as you keep it secure, your Bitcoin cannot be seized or frozen. This level of control is unprecedented in traditional finance, where authorities can block accounts or confiscate assets. Okay. Um, we do a little break here, and as always, let me ask you some questions. Is there something you want to know? You have some questions. Is there something unclear or something you want to know more in depth or something what is going on? Are you fine with that course as long? I like that. This is always when we do online courses. Ah, Angelica is saying it's okay. Um, I think also. And I think if you have any questions, you can ask now for that, or we can go on. So we are going to have a 5-minute break. So if someone must go to the toilet or something like we make a 5 minute break and we are back in 5 minutes, okay? So see you back in 5 minutes. Okay, let's go again here. Let's continue with our course. And I was deciding to, where's my video? There is my video. Hi. So,
ledger that contains names and balances, and people exchange money by changing this file. When Bob sells Carol a lawnmower for 5.2 bitcoins, Bob's balance goes up by 5.2 and Carol's down by 5.2. There's no gold or government-issued money backing these numbers. Bob is only willing to trade his real-life lawnmower for a higher number in this digital file because he has faith that other people will also trust the system. So who maintains this ledger and makes sure no one cheats? One goal of Bitcoin is to avoid any centralized control, so every participant maintains their own copy of the ledger. One surprising consequence of this is that everyone can see everyone else's balances, although the real system only uses account numbers and not names, so there's some level of anonymity. If everyone maintains their own ledger, how are all the ledgers kept in sync as money is transferred? At a basic level, when you want to send money, you simply tell everyone else by broadcasting a message with your account number, the receivers, and the amount. Everyone across the entire world then updates their ledger. As a quick aside, I'm describing how Bitcoin works for power users, people who help maintain the system. You can also just use the system to send and receive money, though, without maintaining a ledger. If sending money is as simple as creating a message with some account numbers, what's to stop a thief, Alice, from spending Bob's money by using his account number? Like a pen and paper check, Bitcoin requires a kind of signature to prove that the sender is the real owner of an account, but is based on math rather than handwriting. When a new account number is created, it comes along with a private key mathematically linked to that account number. If you've heard of a Bitcoin wallet, these keys are what it holds and are what allow you to create signatures. To create a signature, a private key and the text from a transaction are fed into a special cryptographic function. Another function allows other people to check the signature, making sure it was created by the account owner and that it applies to that specific transaction. Unlike the handwritten version, these signatures can't be copied and reused in the future, as they're unique to each transaction. While the mathematical signatures prove who sent a transaction, they can't prove when it was sent, and this turns out to be problematic. In our traditional banking system, if Alice wrote 2 checks but only had enough money to cover one of them, the bank would pay the first person attempting to cash his check but refuse the second because Alice's account would be empty. So the order of these checks is critical because it determines who should get paid. Unfortunately, order is much harder to determine in Bitcoin, where instead of a single bank, there are individuals all over the world. Network delays might cause transactions to arrive in different orders in different places, and fraudsters could lie about timestamps. 2 recipients might both think their transaction is first and ship a product, effectively allowing Alice to spend money twice. Bitcoin prevents this by providing a way for the entire world to decide on transaction order. As new transactions are created, they go into a pool of pending transactions, and from here they'll be sorted into a giant chain that locks in their order. To select which transaction is next, a kind of mathematical lottery is held. Participants select a pending transaction of their choice and begin trying to solve a special problem that will link it to the end of the chain. The first person to find a solution wins and gets to have their transaction selected as next in the chain. So what's this linking problem? It's based on a special function called a cryptographic hash. As scary as this sounds, it just mixes up its inputs and spits out a number, but it's special because it's irreversible. There's no easy way to start with an output and then find an input that generates it other than by making lots of guesses. And this is literally what people are doing in Bitcoin, feeding this function random numbers until the output meets certain criteria. Besides a random guess, you also input a transaction from the pending pool and chain, which is where the linking part comes in. So the lottery provides a way for the entire world to decide which transaction is next, but the math behind it also helps ensure everyone agrees about past transactions too. Suppose you're joining the network for the first time and request a copy of the transaction chain to get caught up but receive several different versions. Which one should you trust? Ideally, you would trust the one that the majority of people are using, but determining this on the internet is difficult. What would stop a single person from voting millions of times? Bitcoin prevents this by requiring people to solve math problems to vote. This causes each vote to have a cost in computing power, making it unlikely that a single person or group could ever afford to outvote or outcompute the majority of users. The transaction ordering process described before actually provides the voting system. Part of the input to the linking problem is a transaction from the end of a chain, so each guess is effectively a vote for that chain. But how are all the votes tallied? Because the cryptographic hash function has well-defined statistical properties, you can look at any given answer and estimate how many guesses it took to find it, just like estimating how many coin flips it would take to get 100 heads in a row. So the links in a chain not only put transactions in order, but also act as an effective vote tally, making it easy to see which chain most people are using. Finally, how does money get created? Every time someone wins the lottery to pick the next transaction in the chain, new bitcoins are created out of thin air and awarded to their account. Solving these problems is commonly called mining, as this is how money enters the system, but the main purpose of the math is to make sure everyone's ledgers agree. The math simply provides a convenient way to randomly distribute money into the world. In fact, sometime around 2140, no more money will be created, and participants will only be paid from fees added onto transactions. I hope this gives you a quick sense for how Bitcoin works. If you'd like a more detailed summary, check out my 22-minute video.
Okay, this was just a little bit graphic and just a little bit video to show you that Bitcoin is dedicated from people to people. Yeah, that's easy to know. You have seen, we have the signatures, we have private keys, we have everything we talked about in this video. And at least it is the whole mass of people using Bitcoin who is securing the network. Every one of you using Bitcoin, having a wallet, is a part of the security of the network. So that's how it works. Yeah, and that makes Bitcoin that way it is today. So that's the main reason why Bitcoin is the first choice of a lot of people, and why some governments like El Salvador or Japan or Central Africa or whatever using Bitcoin as currency, because they have understood what the benefits of this coin is. And that was in the beginning. In the beginning of Bitcoin, everyone knows that, but then the fiat world crashes in and the people have lost the naturally of Bitcoin and understanding. And that's why I think it's important to know, because you have every time the choice what you do with your Bitcoins. But if you choose to go for mining, having your own Bitcoins, you will understand what it means having your own money created. Then maybe it makes more sense to you to understand why you should not give that money away easily. But if you just exchange some coins into Bitcoins and go back and here and there, Bitcoin has not that value to you. It's only a way to trade or something like that and hoping it's going up or down. And if you do the mistake, you lose all your Bitcoins. But then you haven't got free access to the world. So that's why I always recommend not to trade with Bitcoins, but trade with other coins. It's okay. But if you got some Bitcoins, some Satoshis, stay carefully with them. Yeah. Do not lose them easily. Try to stay with them. Yeah. And that's what it is making sense for all of that. That's what makes sense for the rest of the world. And that makes sense if you want to move and travel around the world and you have the possibilities, but you haven't got access to money, you can use your Bitcoins like money everywhere in the world. Because what I said before, in every country of the world, people know now what Bitcoin is. And in every country of the world, you will find people who accept your Bitcoins, even without exchanging into fiat. You just have to ask. And that's so simple. You just have to ask. Yeah? Okay. As a conclusion, we can say we have some key takeaways. Bitcoin represents a revolutionary approach to money, offering decentralization, security, and financial freedom. It operates without banks or governments, relying on blockchain technology and cryptographic principles to ensure trust and transparency. The most important points to remember from that is Bitcoin is decentralized, not just distributed, it is unconfiscatable and highly secure, and empowers individuals to control their wealth without intermediaries. As you explore Bitcoin further, Focus on understanding wallets, private keys, and the importance of safeguarding your credentials. This knowledge will help you navigate the world of cryptocurrency confidently and secure. Because these principles you can transform into everything you do in your daily life. And the more you take care about your daily life and yourself, the more you will take care about your Bitcoins, and the more you take care about money, and the more money is a value for you. That's what it is. Okay? So when we talk about all of that, many people ask me, how can we get Bitcoin without a bank? How can we get Bitcoin when we haven't got any money for an exchange?
Wir sehen dein Bild nicht.
Oh, you can't see my picture?
No,
No?
I see you.
You can't see my picture, I heard around. So let's go back for that. Let's stop the sharing here. Just a second. We got a problem with the sharing. Stop share. We stop sharing here. Let's do the sharing again. Can you now see the picture?
Yes.
Now we are fine with the picture again. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, let's talk again about how we get into Bitcoin without a bank. Yeah, many people cannot open bank accounts. They can't use exchanges. They must pass KYC. And because Bitcoin does not require banks, the access must be built differently. And that's exactly what we do. The key message is Bitcoin removes banks, but access still needs an infrastructure. And that's what we want to talk about in our next slide. The question is, where do Bitcoins come from? And this is, Bitcoin is not printed, Bitcoin is not issued, Bitcoin is mined. And mining connects us to energy, work, and money. Key message is that mining is not speculation, it's a production. And we want to talk about how the production is working. So the main point to get Bitcoins is being a miner. Yeah, if you can own your own miner, you're in the lucky situation that you can have a lot of things around your Bitcoins. You own Bitcoins, you produce Bitcoins. It's like printing money. Yeah. And that's exactly why a miner is there. In real words, you use energy to run a computer, which computer is printing money. And that's exactly why this is a main thing for everyone to stay independent. Yeah, everyone can afford to buy a miner. Mining is cost intensive. A machine costs a lot of money, of course. But the magic about that is when we go for that, it has a lot of costs, hardware, electricity, but Bitcoins coming out of the machine, and the Bitcoins have a real high value. Sorry. Bitcoins are shareable. And so the costs are. Sorry. You can share the costs with many people, and that's what it is. I will give you an overview about what mining costs are actually. Let's change to another picture. Sorry, a little bit dry here. Wait. I will show you something. This is where you can see what a miner is costing.
Wir sehen das nicht. No, yes. Jetzt nicht mehr.
Ja, jetzt habe ich es ja ausgemacht, weil du gesagt hast, wir sehen das nicht. Sorry for that intervention, but um, it's coming back now. Uh, let's wait, sure. So, here on this page, it's called www.asicminervalue.com. You can see what miner in the world coin mines. So let's do something. We want to know what ASIC mining is doing, so it's called. So let's have a look for Bitcoin, BTC. So let's have here a look. You can see the coin here. Let's go for Bitcoin. All of these miners are capable to do Bitcoin mining. Okay, so you can see the release date when they have been built. So actually, you see the actual price. Yeah, it's a lot of money, you see. But we do not go for the high price miner. We can even mine Bitcoins with low price miners. So the main point is when you do mining, what is the machine cost and what is the output of a machine? So when I'm going for a Bitmain Antminer S21, for example, yes, this is this one here. You see, we will go into it is cost about $2,700. Okay, this is how it looks like. So now you can see a miner. And it makes $15 a day. So you see here, it makes $19.60 and the electricity costs are around $3.96. So that's your profit each day. And this is the profit in a month, and that's a profit in a year. If you can afford to buy a miner like that with a couple of people you have to share for, you can easily save some money and then you can share the output. And one important thing to know for you is it's not the point to try to figure out when do we get back that $2,700. You think about another point. You change your fiat money into a money system where you own your own money. So everything from that $2,700 is coming back, is money in your own pocket and keeps you away from banks. That's exactly what the benefit of mining is. It secures your independency. It is not the question, I have invested $5,000, $6,000 into mining, and when do I get back my money? It's the question whether you are ready to have your own money in your own pocket and you can send the money everywhere. You can use the money everywhere you want to, and no one is dictating to you where you have to spend your money for. There are no taxes on that. There's no government coming and charging you. No government can trace you having a miner. If you share that with some people, you just need the electricity point. You have to pay for the electricity, of course. But you're totally independent with a machine like that. So if 10 people going for that, you can share that, but you see the money is coming out. There's a lot of money for people in countries where money is, where inflation is very high. So that's the magic of Bitcoin mining. It's not that one single guy is buying hundreds of miners to be satisfied. It's more about the community who is buying one or two miners to get a monthly income regularly and keep the money out of the bank into their own money, and the value of Bitcoin is rising, you know that. So you are a part of Bitcoin without having to buy and then exchange and do all the processes there. And that's the best benefit of all. So you can look in the internet for a model like that, and then you can say, I will buy it. Yeah. Here on that side, ASIC miner value, you all see also some fact sheet about it. You can see here, and you can see here where you can buy it. Yeah. If you do not have stock access, just ask ChatGPT where you can buy Bitcoin miner in your country. Every country has a possibility. And that's exactly what the magic is in that. So prices differs also where you are coming from. So, and the main thing about mining is do it in a collective. Don't do it as a single entity. Yeah. Get your friends, buy a miner, and stay fine with the money it's coming out. It's coming out for years. A miner can run 6 years. So 7 years. So you get a nice output from that. Yeah. And you stay away from banks and you stay on your own. That's the benefit of mining in our world today. So let's go back to the slides and where we are. So now we will continue with our presentation. I think that's exactly what it is. You see here another overview about what I showed you on the ASIC miner value page. And, and as you can see, Bitcoin is created through work, mining, but you share the electricity costs, you share the output. Yeah. And the question is, do you want to own your own money? Simple as it is. And that's on you. Okay? Oh, sorry. And this is what I said. Communities can share costs, share output. No minimum balance is required. Bitcoin scales downwards, not upwards. That's exactly what it is. And this is the message from Bitcoin mining. So, what did we learn today? Bitcoin needs a wallet. Bitcoin is not a coin you can hold. Bitcoin exists only as entries on the network. A wallet is required to receive, hold, and send. And without a wallet, Bitcoin cannot exist for you. Yeah. A wallet is not a bank account. That's what you have to know. A wallet does not store Bitcoins. Bitcoin stays on the network. A wallet stores keys, proof of ownership. Yeah, what I said. Your key is a voucher. Yeah. Whoever controls the keys controls the Bitcoin. If someone is finding your voucher, he can use it without asking you. So stay safe with your keys. A wallet controls access, not storage. That's what it is. Keys are ownership. Okay? So understand private key is control, no name, no account, no permission. You lose the key, you lose access. You share the key, you lose control. If you have a wallet where no keys are provided, the owner or the provider of the wallet is the owner of your funds, as long he wants. If you have the keys and your wallet is not working, just go for another wallet, type in on the send button the number of your private key, and all your funds are back. That's the magic. Stay away from custodial wallets. A company holds the keys. You receive an account. You must ask permission to withdraw or transfer. Funds can be frozen, confiscated, restricted. Yes, that's what it is. And non-custodial wallets, these are real wallets which are free. You hold the keys, no intermediary, no permission required, works globally, and cannot be frozen by others. Exactly, that's where we go. Custody is the way how banks control your money. Custody reintroduces trust, control, central points of failure. And think about Bitcoin was designed to get away from banks. It was not designed that someone is coming and saying, put your money into a lock here and your Bitcoins, and then you can work with that. If you don't control the keys, you don't control the money. This is the most important sentence you will ever heard. If you talk about the internet and people talk about Bitcoin, they say no keys, no coins. Yeah. And think about, you do not need any documents with a non-custodial wallet. Do not need a bank access. It works with mobile phones. It works with everything. It is mining compatible and everything. Yeah. So this is what non-custodial coins is. And here we have the golden rule. I can say not often enough, not your keys, not your Bitcoins. So if your funds are gone away, you can recover with your keys. If you haven't got a key to recover, what will you do? And now, what kind is a non-custodial wallet? This is something I will recommend. It is called Blue Wallet. Okay, you can download it on a Google Store, on the App Store, wherever. The Blue Wallet works now for a couple of years. And I will tell you why it is non-custodial. You can also, if you want to use it, you have a simple Bitcoin wallet. And there is one magic thing about it is not registered. Every custodial wallet you can find on Wallet Explorer. This is a website. It's called, I type it in chat. You can see it as Wallet Explorer. A Wallet Explorer is a program on the internet where you can type in a number of your wallet, an ID, which you can ask in your wallet. It shows you the ID. And the settings, you can see the ID. And then it can say, the Wallet Explorer, this is a wallet from that provider. Blue Wallet hasn't got that ID. So when you go to a Wallet Explorer and type in your public key, the address where people can send you money, Wallet Explorer cannot determine where the Bitcoin wallet is coming from. If you use a public address from a custodial wallet, for example, Blockstream, you can type in the public key and it says this is Blockstream. Yeah, and then you know you have a wallet where you do not have access when they do not want you to have access. And Blue Wallet is one of this kind which is free. Okay, for Wallet Explorer you can check it out. Okay, another wallet which is working very good, it's called Samurai Wallet. Yeah, Samurai Wallet is a wallet which provides a lot of features for protecting your identity from being seen in the internet. So it connects to a VPN, if someone knows what it is. It connects automatically to different ways of Bitcoin hopping and something like that. This is for advanced users who have experience with Bitcoin sending and something like that, and they want to stay anonymous. Samurai Wallet is also a wallet which is non-custodial, which is free, and which provides you financial freedom with your Bitcoins. But the easiest way in Bitcoin to stay safe and control your keys and everything is Blue Wallet. You just click there, you say make a standard Bitcoin wallet, and then you are in. Then you can see send and receive, and that's all. Nothing more. You can't do anything more. And one thing at last, before we finish here for today, never ever in a wallet like Blue Wallet or other wallets, never ever activate two-factor. A lot of people say this is secure, but the reality is something like that. What if you do not receive an SMS with the number, with the code? What if your code is lost, your phone is lost, and you haven't got any access to this code number which is be sent to you? How will you access your money? It's impossible, because you can't open your wallet without that code. And the process to reactivate two-factor authentication is a very long, tricky way. I promise you. So never, if someone is asking you to activate two-factor authorization, never use that. Because think about, you have an internet a website, you have to enter that number, and the field where you have to enter the number is gone. Where will you enter the number? And the provider has canceled that field. So you say, hey, I have to type in the number, but where? Okay, so you are in control with that. Mind that. Yeah, your control is that no one else gives you an extra security than you on your own. Your keys. Where should you store your keys? Do not do this on third parties application. They can steal your key. Even Trezor is not safe. Yeah, even Ledger is not safe. I can prove you in 5 minutes. But if you want to stay safe with your keys, Think about how do you protect your mobile phone? How do you protect that from stealing? How do you protect important things you have to remember? And the same way, treat your private key. Because it doesn't make sense. You put your private key into the treasure. Then you have to remember the number of the treasure, right? And then you sink the treasure into the sea. Then you have to make a remarkable point where the treasure is and which number it is. Because you can say, oh, I have it in my mind. The next day, you get drunk with your friends and lost the number. So what will you do then? So think about the easiest way you can store. It is a number or it is words. You can write it in a book and highlight it. You can do whatever you want. Because no one knows that you own Bitcoins and the key. As long you are not going and tell the world that you own Bitcoins and you are rich now or something like that. No one is interested in your Bitcoins. And as long you follow that rule, you do not have to have any doubts about what happens to them. I will tell you another nice thing which is working. You can also store keys in your mobile phone as long you can lock the notes. For example, iPhone users have an easy way to go. They can go into notes and they can lock the notes because it's encrypted then, and you cannot open that anymore. And no one in the cloud can access that locked notes. And this is exactly why people store their things. Other people will say, oh, that's not true, and something like that. And they said, okay, store it at a third party. Use our ledger. Because when people sell you a ledger, a USB stick, they get money for that from that company. So stay away from everyone who has a good idea to say you how you should store it. Find a way for yourself where you want to be free, where you are capable to activate a key. And remind one thing. For example, I give you an example. You have a wallet, your blue wallet, for example. Your best friend is seeing how you open that wallet, and now he knows the passcode of your mobile phone. And then he goes into your mobile phone, open the wallet, and send the funds away. You have 10 minutes to recover your funds. 10 minutes. So that's why you use the private key also. The private key is also a recovery tool. When you see that someone is sending your funds away, and you know that, and you are not fine with that, you can use your key into another wallet, press on send, type that number in, and the transaction is cancelled. Because no other than you has an interest to secure the funds. Yeah? And it's your money. Think about it. It's not the money of different people. And so you should treat your private key, this is your Bitcoins, this is your voucher, on your own, and do not trust in third parties. Never. Okay. Guys, that was all for today for Bitcoin. Next week, we start a little bit. We're showing you something about different coins, a little bit what trading is, what people tell about I would say, cycluses in trading, how it works, that different coins goes up and down. There's a measurement how this works and why this world is there. So, and we talk about different blockchain systems and what's the difference and what they really meant to be. Because blockchains haven't been built at all to make tradings or sending some pictures over a blockchain. And yeah, there we're going. And I hope you liked it and you had some insights for yourself. And there was a lot of stuff you didn't know, and now you know. And feel free in the next minutes to ask questions. Yeah. Otherwise, I will send you also in the groups the link to this video because everything is recorded here. Yeah. So you can likely watch it again. Yeah. That should be all for today. Yeah, ask questions. You can ask in the chat or whatever. Gaston is asking, can we put our key in the email on draft and stay safe if we do not post? That's exactly another thing. I would address you to store your key offline. Yeah, and or in a notepad. In an email on a draft, the chance that you by accident push send, it's too high. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would say. It is safe there as long as do you not post send it. Yeah, but if you come by accident on the button send and then the key is gone away, and someone the reception knows what that is, he can access all your money. I don't think that is safe. Okay, so just write that key or the number of phrases on the paper and then put the paper or whatever somewhere in the box where no one knows that the box exists or something like that. Yeah. And go not paranoid about that. Yeah. Do not paranoid making paranoia about it. Yeah. You can also hide that words or something like that if you have a text in your text box or something like that. It's easy to hide. Okay. So that's what the magic is. Yeah. Um, yeah. Other questions? Anyone here has some questions for that? Who want to know more about it? Okay. Just ask. I'm here now. Um, okay, you can always ask next in 2 weeks when we start the next issue. It will be on, let's have a look.
Uh,
Um,
Professor, I have questions.
yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a questions. Questions, not a
Yeah.
question. Thank you so much for the section first. And my first question goes like, what makes Bitcoin fundamentally different from all other substance? I mean, like cryptocurrencies.
Yeah. The main difference is if I'm a guy from the government and I want to shut down your coin, I know who you are. You can't provide a coin without making understandable that you have issued the coin. In Bitcoin, you can't address a person to say shut down the Bitcoin network. And that's the main difference because someone has created your coin and you make now advertisement for the coin and people buy your coin. They can follow back the spur back to you. And then the government is coming and saying shut down that whole thing or we put you in jail. And this is impossible in Bitcoin. The next thing is every other coin has an idea of a value because of trading. So the idea of another coin is to do trades on an exchange. The idea of Bitcoin is that you have money as a money system. You can use it for trading on exchange, but you can also use it as money all over the world. Because if you come with another coin, I will say it's hard to sell them. When I'm going for a country and say I have some bitcoins or some satoshis, would you give me money? People run after me. If I going for that and say I have some XRPs, I only have to address the people who are interested in XRP. But in any other countries, there is no XRP ATM or something like that where I can get it. That's what it is. So another question.
There is
Thank you
one.
so much.
Yeah.
My second question, it goes
Yep.
like, how does a Bitcoin give an invisible true finance sovereignty?
The volatility you got only if you stay in the fiat world. If you look for the price of Bitcoin, the volatility. The price of Bitcoin is it's an easy thing to understand. When you going with your Bitcoins, I would ever say you buy something in El Salvador or Japan or in Central Africa. Then you do not exchange your Bitcoins. You can pay directly with the Bitcoins without exchange there, and you got some goods for that. That's like in the fiat world. You pay a car with fiat, now you pay a car with Bitcoin. And then the value, the basic value of Bitcoin is going up. Say you have bought a car for $30,000, which is in Bitcoin, I will say about 10,000 Satoshis or something like that. Yeah, okay. So this 10,000 Satoshis will create a value, the car. As long you have a basic value, it is okay because Bitcoin is growing and the matter of exchange is based on that. What will you give for an item of exchange? What is the value of Bitcoin also is um, what are people thinking about to have a coin which is unconfiscatable? On the other way, we have trading. So actually, the basic price of Bitcoin is around $35,000. This is what trades against goods Bitcoin is in value. On top, you see the traders which make bets on Bitcoin, and you do trading on DeFi exchanges or exchanges, something like that. So if you see a Bitcoin price from 92,000 actually, or 125,000, the basic price of Bitcoin varies between $35,000 and $45,000. So in my opinion, it can't go breaking down at the moment less than $45,000. But it can go up and down as you see because it reached a peak. The people are afraid that it's not going higher, and then they sell all the Bitcoins. Then it is exchanged and something like that. The price is going up. The volatility you see actually is normal for Bitcoin. This is not a danger thing. This is the most important thing for people who do not mining and have access to the financial world and want to buy Bitcoins. Because if it crashed down to a price like that from 125,000, it's cheap for a generation to buy Bitcoins. Yeah. But you will see the next thing is when people ask me, what about the volatility when the Bitcoin price was 20,000 and it crashed to 4,000? Everyone is saying Bitcoin is dead. Then it was 40,000. And the people say, oh, why did I pay, sold my Bitcoin when it was 4,000? And then it goes to 60,000. And the people ask themselves, were I so stupid to sell my Bitcoin when it was 40,000? And now we have the situation that people say, hey, it's 127,000, it will never go back there. But Bitcoins are limited. Bitcoins not something you can print for the rest of your life. In 2140, the last part of Bitcoin is spent, and we have exactly 21 million Bitcoins in a circulation system. No new Bitcoin is coming. And that's important to know. The more I can print, the less is the price. The more ripples I produce, the less is the price. Yeah. And Bitcoin is heavily traded and everyone knows it's limited. That's why the price is going up and down and everyone makes business with that. But for sure, the price must go up because more and more people ask for Bitcoin. And that's the demand which is driving this price. On the other hand, people like in your neighborhood haven't got any access. They do mining and create Bitcoins on their own. And they use it for their daily spendings, for school, for energy, for whatever, for buying goods. They keep the price up. So think about Bitcoin is going to 250,000. The real value of Bitcoin is 120,000. So it can't crash down from 120,000 because actually it's like the same. Bitcoin is used on exchanges, but it is used in the real world for real items to exchange without going in the fiat world. And that makes Bitcoin different from other coins. On the other hand, you can't exchange and trade something without other coins, right? So, and that's why Bitcoin will always stay the majority of everything. That's like the same. You're a car producer. Who is the owner of the car? It's you, right? Because you bought the car. But what is the value of the car? It is the company who runs that car. For example, a Mercedes is more value than I will say a Toyota, right? So this is the same. You drive a Toyota for a year, then you sell your Toyota, and with that money, you have more savings for your next car, and then you upgrade your car. And this is the same like here. You have savings in altcoins, and then you upgrade it to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is rising. And if Bitcoin is going down, you sell your Bitcoins for altcoins to save money. And this is the deal. Without Bitcoins or without altcoins, you haven't got a trade on an exchange and you can't make money anymore. It's like stock markets. If Apple has not that high value, no one will exchange some fancy stocks into an Apple share, right? But if you have a lot of fancy shares, you will likely buy an Apple share for that. And this is the magic of Bitcoin. And it works for 17 years now. And that's what it is.
Und da ist eine Frage in den Dings.
Im Chat,
Mal lesen, ja, du hast offen.
we saw which costs the only ones required, or are they any? Okay. On www.SIG miner value, I put it in the chat. you can see what a mining machine has costs. Yeah, and the question we got here is this the only cost required? Yes, you have to pay for the machine. Yeah, and then maybe you have to see where you buy the machine if there are extra shipping costs. Okay, that's what not is here. Here's the basic price of a miner actually. It could be that in your country, if you ask Bitmain for sending miners, it is cheaper than in the rest of the world because they have in several areas several prices. So, for example, you see here a standard price from $2,000. It could be that it's only $1,000 in your country if you ship it to your country. That's what you have to ask at the vendor side. Yeah. And once you reach that machine, you can ask ChatGPT to set up the machine. It gives you step by step a clarification how to run that machine. So the only thing is you have to pay, sorry, is for the electricity costs. No additional cost then. Yeah, that's what it is. And think about
Thank
one,
you so
another,
much.
yeah,
Sorry, that was the next question. Sorry.
yeah, come on.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you so much. The my third question and okay, my last question. I'm going to put it together. So, the first one it goes like, what was the um, I mean, like, what's the problem can a Bitcoin solve the money before it couldn't solve? Like, you get my point? What's the
Um,
problem that Bitcoin solved that the money couldn't be solved before?
you mean the problem that Bitcoin is not used as money at all, that the government is not selling its currency? Is that what you mean?
The Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin, yeah.
Well, what does the Bitcoin solve that the money couldn't be,
Yeah,
before
okay. What
couldn't
it
solve?
shows. Yeah, 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 right now. No, 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 I got you. Sorry. Um, there's one thing. When we do business with money, yeah. So you do business with your money and you pay with money. There's always someone who want to get interest in that. So think about you going to someone and lend some money. You have to pay interest for that money. So now you have to work more to pay also the interest. Think about a world where everyone is working for interest because he has lent some money. So you have to do additional work. But a day has 24 hours. And you can afford to work maybe 16 hours to sleep 8 hours, or you can work 20 hours and then you sleep less. Yeah? But then you're a slave to the money because you have to pay this interest. In Bitcoin, it's like that. You print your money with a mining machine, and then you do not have to work for that money because Bitcoin is working on energy. You have to work for the energy cost and have to share that energy costs from your mining output. So you got Bitcoins and then you have to pay from your Bitcoins that mining. So it's a system which solves the problem of earning money and spending money for creating money. In a normal world, you create something and you need resources. So everyone is working and working and working. We need more resources, and the resources run out of the world. You see, for example, gas prices going up and something like that. Russia has all the gas. Um, for example, Ukraine has all the corn for the rest of the world, or something like that. So the more we make business with that, the more we have to earn by harvesting corn or selling gas. But these are all limited resources. So one day they will be gone by our business because the time to recreate is not enough. In Bitcoin, you do not have interest. You got the money out of the machine, and then you decide what the money is for your life. What do you have to invest? But it's not coming back like a reinvest. And this is the main difference in that. It slows down on the system of, I will say, treating our earth by more productivity. And what the fiat world does not do is it is unbalancing the world like that. Um, it is no, I would say this is no question what it is. If you work in your country or otherwhere where it's very cheap for us from Europe, yeah, you work for our luxury. So you do work which is very expensive in our countries. So every company is going to you and say, build this T-shirt or make this, and you can produce that. We give you some work because it's cheap in your country. And it's high sold in our country. So a T-shirt, for example, people are willing with the name on it to pay over $200 for. Yeah, it's stupid because it was created by people who do not reach $100 from that. In Bitcoin, the problem is solved that you have equality. It doesn't matter if someone has collected 500,000 Bitcoins, but you can collect your own Bitcoins. And sometime, because Bitcoins are limited, on one point, the guy with the 500,000 Bitcoins has to sell his Bitcoins back to the people. Because think about that, all Bitcoins are out of the machine, 21 million, and it's gone. Where will you make money from then? Because all Bitcoins are spared over people. So you just can use it for exchange for goods. And the people know that it is working. And that makes a problem solver. It comes to the point where people accept that Bitcoin is an item of exchange, not a trading item. Because the higher the price of Bitcoin comes, the less fiat is on the world to exchange. Think about a Bitcoin who is 10 million or 1 million. Yeah? And you own 500,000 Bitcoins. Yeah? Or more. Think about MicroStrategy, for example. And then you go to a bank and you say, I sell my 500,000 Bitcoins for 1 million. There's not enough fiat money there to do that immediately. They have to print more fiat money. The consequence is more inflation. The consequences is higher prices for the people. The consequence is that more people starve because they can't pay for their life. And then comes the point where people understand that Bitcoin is limited also in the value, how much higher it can go. And that leads into the idea that Bitcoins become an item of exchange for goods again. Because you can say, I get for a Bitcoin 500,000 burgers, or I get 10 burgers for that. Because you print a Bitcoin and then you decide how much you will get for this Bitcoin. Not the market. If you go for an exchange, you say, okay, that Bitcoin is 100,000 or $90,000, yeah? But if it comes out of the machine, and you own it in your hand, and someone is coming and say, what do you want for that Bitcoin? You decide the price, no one else. And that's the magic, and that's the difference. And that's what the problem is solved. You own your money and you control the value. Any more questions?
Yeah, thank you. The last one is was like you told us about the smart cities on the day of the conference. So the question is, you told us that the blockchain has the limit money, and in Rwanda, sometimes you try to keep more money on the bank, and then they would ask, okay, where does the money come from? Like, if you buy the house with the Bitcoin money, and then they would ask you, like, what's your business? Where did you get the money? Like, they would know the information about the money. So, for example, if I put like $200,000 or like too much money, and then I go buy like a house or goods, which is which will take a government to know where my money has come from, and like what will I explain, or the money will I keep on the Bitcoin? Will it um will it be checking like the bank money, or like that's different where can it be clearly from? I
Think
think you get
about,
it.
yeah, think about one thing. Actually, the rules are like that, what you said. The bank want to know where your Bitcoins is coming from, where is the money coming from, where Bitcoins. Yeah. So then they want to know where you send the Bitcoins to. That's what we call travel rule. It's a European thing. It's starting over, yeah? So with these exchanges where you buy Bitcoins, you have all the trouble. It's right. You have a lot of trouble with that to explain where the money is coming from. And then they say, okay, now we got the money from you. Then the exchange holds your money. And then you have to run to explain until you get your Bitcoins. And this is what Bitcoin in the very beginning was starting to prevent and saying, go not there. The way how we work around with that is another thing. Every one of you, or a lot of people of you, I will say, know people in foreign countries. Yeah. And they know people who can get access to Bitcoins or hold Bitcoins. So I do rather business with them because I can trust them because they are friends of mine instead of trust the bank that they're giving me my money without asking stupid questions. And interesting in that field is the important thing why banks and ask that is they say you do money laundering with that. Fact is in the world, 20% of people do bad money business and the rest is good. So when I will be asked where is my money coming from, the question should be, why do you treat me like a criminal? And not the way around. When I stay with my Bitcoins and I do not exchange them or I buy them with a miner or I go for mining or I ask friends if they want to sell some Bitcoins or something like that. I stay in that way that I have the control over the money flow. Nowadays, it is not easy to find people who have already Bitcoins because they hold their Bitcoins because they hope the price is going up, right? It's okay. But on the other hand, think about one thing. The well, the access to Bitcoin is an access you have to share. It's not what I said with mining. It's not you buy one miner on your own, you share with different people, different miners. And then you all earn money, and then you have access to everything with your Bitcoins because you own Bitcoins. And then the people run for you. And that is a different. You turn the page. Yeah.
Siehst du die Nachrichten, Jaka? Oh.
Um,
Yeah.
can I ask?
Yes, of course.
No problem. Huh?
Yeah. Ask. Yeah, ask. Gaston.
Yeah. There is a case whereby, let's take that kind of context. If
Yeah.
a burger or a bandi, I think you understand what I mean, try to take money, laundering money. You see, when maybe you steal money from people. What in the case that you try to scam them? You see, nowadays people come and tell people that there is a crypto, it has a high value. You see, when they're scamming, they say it is a Bitcoin, things like that, when it is not the truth. And there is a case where you found people have million, billion, and the billion that they have steal from all over the country because they have that ability or that capability of taking that money. You see, that way of taking money or because they are skilled of doing that, bad habit of steal, and they take that money, and because they know how to hide it, they they exchange and they put them in their Bitcoin account.
Yeah.
I'm asking, is it if all of this kind of baragara or banditism are very well traced, is there a way of
There is a way how you can stop that.
no, not only to stop, because let's say when the security agents manage to trace it, is it possible to take that money back?
Oh.
So that
Yeah, I got you. I got your point. I got your point.
yeah. That's the question. Thank you.
Once you send money, once you send Bitcoin, it doesn't matter what you send, and it is taken away, and you do not get something back for that, it is very hard to get the money back. Okay? Even the Bitcoin. So when I, for example, a guy is offering me something and I will pay with Bitcoin, you have a very good way to make a workaround that this is coming to, I will say, a trusty thing. The one thing is, someone wants $5 from you in Bitcoin, okay? So he will send you some goods for that. So you do something. You just send a little bit of money to this guy, yeah? And then he has to say, okay, I got it, right? So then you have the access to laws to charge him if he says if he runs away. So you can make sure and can trace where you have sent the money to. If he says, okay, and he says, okay, let's do it step by step, you can know that guy is for real. But if he tries to argue and says, you have to send me all the money at once, otherwise we can't do that deal, stay away from the person.
Yeah. It means there is a way you try to make sure you are not
yeah, for
taken.
example, you can say I pay you 20 for example, I pay you 20%. For example, you want $100 from me, and I say I sent you $20, and the rest you get when you send that item, yeah? Because if you send something to me, I know your address, and you know my address because we have to send to, right? So we have trust.
Yeah.
And then I send you the rest of the money because otherwise you can go to a lawyer and say, here.
I see the kind of the way the question is I want two answers. I have had that question of trying to get that kind of credentials, because if you have done, you did a transaction, you have well, you have something from him. See?
Yes.
But the second question is that one I've got you. The second question is the case whereby this is not for me only. It is a case which the case is concerned this kind of mass barragra, mass banditism, mafia. Do you understand me?
Yes.
You see, these people who are very, very, very those, let's say those mafia people.
Yes.
I'm trying to bring the context, which is somehow Raj, or somehow you, somehow not just that kind of individual. And I'm not saying this kind of robbery where you someone scam another. I say, I mean a kind of mass robbery. Somebody is skilled, he just somewhere in an office, and then he tried to bring people from all over the country, even in the region, because he have convinced them that the Bitcoin that he have created, you see, the scam one is genuine. You see,
Yeah. Yes.
Genuine.
let's take the case that even the security agent have traced and they found that this guy is a robber or is a mafia
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
have taken billions and the billions. I'm asking for individual context. I have got you, but in the case of the whole people who have been robbed, and it is very well
You know,
traced by even agent people,
you know,
police or whatever.
sorry
You
for
see those kind
interrupting.
of
I see what you
yeah,
mean.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
the main point of mafia is
Uh-huh.
they have structures, they make you believe something that you are willed to send the money. So they do
Mm-hmm.
not go to say, hey, you send me all your money or we come around and kill you. They go like that.
Mm-hmm.
They have a network of people who tell you
Yeah.
something which you think,
Uh-huh.
oh, that guy is saying, it must be real, right?
Uh-huh.
The main power we have today, and this is the difference from a couple of years ago, you
Uh-huh.
can ask your AI, your ChatGPT,
Mm.
this guy told me that, and then you type in exactly what that guy was saying, and then you say, I
Mm-hmm.
have some doubts if that could work or not.
Uh-huh.
So ChatGPT is giving you, or Grok, or whatever you know, Gemini, or whatever you use, is giving you
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
exactly
That. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
analyzing of what is said
Mm-hmm.
and can say, okay, that guy is telling something which is not working because that of that. And then he said, yeah, that guy is right. It exists something like that, but think about that next thing. And then you can make your mind on your own and you do not have to trust in a couple of people. That's the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
advantage of AI today,
Yeah, yeah.
to
I
prevent
see.
yourself from tricking out by mafia structures.
For me, it is not possible because I have got that course. I
It's
mean,
for everyone. Many people do not know.
yes. The problem is that I'd like to get your point of view when if if the security agent have recognized that kind of person and that they have traced him, is it possible to get access to that money, maybe billions and the billions of dollars, because he have even exchanged in another currency, maybe you see, you can even put that money using another genuine crypto. Eh?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
the security agent have traced and see, how the security agent or how the security organization can access that money that has been exchanged
That's what
coming
I
from.
would say you have how it works. They never
Mhm.
mafia structures never exchange into Bitcoin or something like that. I tell you why.
Uh-huh.
You will never find. Think about a guy is coming and rob a bank, and then he has $2 million.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
will never
Mm-hmm.
find a guy who is willing to give him for $2 million Bitcoins. What
Uh-huh.
they use is offshore accounts. And via the
Okay.
network of offshore accounts, they buy
Mm-hmm.
cryptos time after time. And
Uh-huh.
companies like Chain Analysis try to fetch the point where Bitcoins and money is connected in a greater style from outsourced funds. So they start to trace where people enter an exchange, for example. Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
it is not that easy to exchange fiat money in large style into cryptocurrencies. It's near
Okay.
impossible. Yeah.
Okay. Ah.
They stay in the fiat world. Normally, they stay in the fiat world. They have offshore accounts. The money is going to the Bahamas. From the Bahamas, the money is going to Kuala Lumpur. From Kuala Lumpur, the money is going back to Panama, for example. Yeah. So that's how the money is turning
Mm.
around, and it is all by credit. So they do not send the money at all overseas. They get credit of their accounts, and then the money is going on different ways, part by part. That's how money laundering in a big way is working today over fiat money, you know? And that's why crime,
Mhm.
when people tell Bitcoin is crime or cryptocurrency is a crime, it is only 1% of all crime. 99% of
Mm.
crime and money is fiat, and it stays fiat.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mm.
Someone else has
Yeah.
question, or is there another question for the course? Something like that?
Gaston hat noch eine Nachricht geschrieben, da muss ich mal lesen.
Ich sehe nur die hier. Ja. Okay. So then we are fine with that day today. I will upload the recording. When it is uploaded, I will send you the link. You can share and people can watch this because I think this is noted for everyone. So you can repeat that whole thing. You can translate that whole thing if you do not have understand everything of that. Okay. So and then I wish you a nice evening. Our next session will be at February,
January.
January, on 18th. Okay, so we see back. I keep you updated in the groups, so you can update all the.
Okay, you said February next.
No, it's January, 18th of January, in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today.
Okay. Thank you. As is scheduled.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same link. Yeah, you can use the same Zoom link to come in again. Yeah, you can use that all.
Thanks a lot.
I will also
Thank you
update.
very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a nice evening. Take care, all of you. And then
Thank you.
we will be back.
Thanks.
Okay. So.